Hello everyone, I am here today with not just an industrialist of a very well known company, but also an inspiration for the youth in fitness and fashion, Mr. Yash Birla. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So, as we all know your interest in music, what kind of a music taste do you have?
So that's it's like a more lot of things in life. It's a paradoxical choice I have. So on one hand, so in my car iPod is where I usually listen to a lot of music. My music I usually hear in the car while I'm traveling, or in my bathroom when I'm getting ready. So in the so my driver have very proper instruction of what to play. While going to work, I always play bhajans. So I have a lot of art of living bhajan, which I love. Other chants. So in the morning when I go to work, usually in the car, I do there's something called transcendental meditation, where you can sit anywhere and do it. So I play these bhajans and I do transcendental meditation. But even otherwise, I listen to a lot of art of living bhajans, Sanskrit shlokas at a lot of times when I'm traveling. The other is when I'm coming back from work, I listen to techno music. Techno is like hard techno music. You may know the genre. It's not trance, it's techno. So I love which has got no lyrics. It's nobody singing. It's just music. So I love hard music. To me, that rhythm puts me in a very tranquil and happy state. So I only have these two genres in my iPod: techno and bhajans. Yes, I do like certain 80s music, which is when we were all in college and school, college growing up. So they bring back basically fond memories of the past. So I have some 80s music also, which I hear occasionally, and maybe some old Hindi songs of the 60s and 70s, sometimes once in a while. But these are rare. They're there, but I hear it very rarely. Most often is bhajans and techno.
Okay. Knowing your taste in music is such a great thing for the people to know about it. Moving ahead, talking about the family, how do you spend your free time with your family? Or maybe you can say it as quality time.
So quality time, I think me and my family have tried to engage ourselves in a lot of spirituality. So from when my children were young, we used to go to spiritual treks in the Himalayas, or we used to go to destinations which had Vrindavan, Mathura, whatever, Govardhan Parikrama. So those ultimately started becoming fun for us. Now we go to Rishikesh and family, spend a lot of quality time together. We're all together. Whether it's walking, going to an aarti, whether it's going to a cafeteria to eat good food, whether it's shopping. So we do these things together. Of course, we have fun. Like we all love watching movies. So we go to a movie sometime. We watch a movie at home. That's quality time. Sometime so basically, I'm not a very dinner-oriented person. I don't like to go for dinner. But some of them enjoy food, eating out. So whenever they want to go, I go with them for a dinner where everybody's together. So that's quality time. We sometimes meditate together. So we all get into a room or in Rishikesh. All of us meditate together, or we take a guided meditation. So we play on our phones, meditation that guides you from anybody. So I would say these are the more quality times, one would say, or things which we all enjoy doing. And of course, individually, we all like to do different things which we do.
Okay, so moving ahead, any three things about you which you like doing but people don't know about it? A secretive interest?
So I think I don't know. I'm not a very private person, so a lot of people know exactly what I'm like. You're asking me, I can tell you whatever I do. What people don't know is maybe I can go when I'm especially abroad. I can go sit alone at a coffee shop without any company, without anybody to talk to, and read a book, or just look at people and the environment. I love doing that. I can do it in India also, but I don't do it because there are not many open. I like to sit in the open air. I love sitting where it's not air conditioned, it's not closed, it's open air. So wherever there is that, I love to go and sit by myself. I like to just go alone sometimes for a walk and wander around without a destination. I sometimes do it in Bombay also. I just go on the roads and streets and walk around. I just like to see the activity of the city, the buzz, the people. Or I may do it in like a Rishikesh, which is a lovely, beautiful environment. Go into the forest, in a park alone. So these things I like to do. The rest of things I don't know what people don't know, but I think everybody. I enjoy fitness. I enjoy spirituality. I enjoy shopping for clothes, not many other things. So that's what I enjoy.
So moving ahead with your business perspective, from business point of view, which sector do you see the most in the run?
So I think now with the modern era and after the pandemic, of course, and the technology, basically things with artificial intelligence, the IT sector, things with education, which also have artificial intelligence, is a great future because everybody is in the pandemic learning from home, and the more and more you learn to make it a system, it will be very prevalent. Health, there's a lot of interest in Ayurveda because of the pandemic, where we knew that your immunity is something which prevents you from getting a disease, which is enhanced by leading a pure, healthy life, and Ayurvedic herbs can help a lot in this. So I think health, nutrition, natural living, Ayurveda, this side is very good. The other businesses of service and retail is wherever you reduce the intermediaries. So it's now everything's going to be more direct. Whatever intermediary levels are there, which were taking parts of the profit ultimately of the seller, and the consumer was not getting it at the lowest price. And the intermediaries were charging too much. Whatever systems you can have as a business, whether it's technology, warehousing, logistics, where intermediaries are reduced and the buyer is directly put in touch with the consumer, will do very well.
So, as you spoke about Ayurveda as an aspect of business and health, so how did you bought Billa Ayurveda as a business? What was your reason getting Billa Ayurveda as a business?
This is quite many years back, where there was a company and this person from Kerala doing this business. We actually acquired it from where he had already developed certain patented technology, patented medicine, ways, therapies, whatever. Because this is something which you have to go according to traditional systems. You can't do your own thing. So there are scriptures in India which guide you in Ayurveda. There are a lot of trained people who practice it properly, but there are also a lot of quacks and people who just sell anything without really being scientific about it. The reason we wanted to get into it is because, first of all, people should be able to trust in herbal medicines. They're actually authentic Ayurveda. They're not what we're trying to get away from is adulterated chemical medicines or food, let's say. So when you corporatize something, obviously you follow certain systems. So you give Ayurveda in its purest form, which you can believe and have trust in. Second, the science was kind of, because of a lot of modern people like quacks trying to prescribe all kinds of wrong medicines, they lost its faith. A lot of people lost faith in this Ayurvedic line of health treatment. So we wanted to reinstate it back into especially the youth, because this was very prevalent in our culture and tradition as an exceedingly effective cure for a lot of ailments. A lot of ailments which have no cure in science. Let's say multiple sclerosis has no cure in science. A lot of others may not have a cure, but they are definitely helped by Ayurveda. So I believe it can help the community at large if one follows basic principles of Ayurveda, and that's the idea we got into.
Okay, so thank you. It was great talking.